A always B gutting. Always be gutting. Always be gutting. Friends, hello. How are you? Guten Tag. Kevin Gootee here. Of course, Gutting the Sacred Cow. This week, we have ourselves a monster guest. It would happen to be Noodles from the Offspring. That's right. Joins us to try and take down one of the most heralded Christmas films of recent time, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Before we get to it, guttingthesacredcow at gmail.com if you want to advertise with us. And if you're a new listener, welcome. We would thoroughly love it if you left us a 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review on your podcast platform of choice, as well as subscribe to us on all the socials for all the fun stuff we put out there for you. Joining me in the co-host is one of my best friends since my 20s, Terry Loda, who's a hell of a funny dude. Now, let's see if Noodles from the Offspring can do damn near the impossible and try and take down Christmas Vacation. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Terry Loda, name that film.
Damn it. Shouldn't have had so many beers beforehand. And they're only Leinenkugels.
Oh my God.
Oh Jesus.
Someone's sundress is tightening up.
I'm a little distracted by Randy Quaid's nipple that's poking out over your left shoulder.
He's got a nice B cup, doesn't he? Do you not know that film?
No.
God damn it. Noodles from the Offspring. Oh my God. Almost 20 years listening to these guys. Love him. And he's one of the nicest fucking people you ever meet. Noodles from the Offspring. Do you know what quote that is from? King Kong ain't got shit on me.
I have no idea.
The answer, fellas, is Training Day.
Oh, all right. All right.
Okay, that went over like a fart in church.
Denzel, right?
Kev, yes, it was Denzel. That's exactly right. Kevin Gootee, Terry Loda, and Noodles from the Offspring here. Thank you all for joining us yet again for another Gutting the Sacred Cow. We've had some monster episodes. People have had the balls to come out and try and attack Apocalypse Now, Field of Dreams. Can you believe that? The Sandlot. What? Yes, but today... What's that, Noodles?
Can't go after the Sandlot.
They are, and they brought their knives, and they are fully sharpened. Apocalypse Now, I thought that was one that would never get touched. Our buddy Noodles from the Offspring joins us, and he has selected, I dare say, the most beloved Christmas film of all time. No, not that piece of shit Christmas Story, and that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. A 1989 release, box office budget of $25 million, box office haul, $73.3 million. Turn that into 2022 money. I did. $57.3 million budget, $168 million haul. Not a bad rate there, Terry Loda.
That's not bad. That's about the size of Juliette Lewis's forehead in the movie.
We're gonna have a lot more of those in here, I promise you.
All right.
As we all know, IMDb is a scale 1 through 10 with decimal points. Noodles, what do you think National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation scored on IMDb? 1 through 10 with decimal points.
I'm gonna guess. Gosh, like would I give it or what?
We'll ask at the very end of your argument, sir. What do you think IMDb has for this?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 6.7 stars.
Terry Loda.
7.4.
Are you cheating? 7.5.
No. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
Someone's got both
Rookie.
showcases. Rotten Tomatoes is a scale 1 through 10 percentages. Terry Loda, what did the critics give National Lampoon's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation critic score?
Yeah, I'll turn that into a percent. We'll go 75%.
75. Noodles, what do you think the critics gave this film?
$1.
Our critics are going to go lower. I'm going to do 5.5.
All right, 55. So 67% says the critics.
Oh, right in the middle.
So just a little CH above certified fresh. Back to you, Noodles. What do you think the audience gave this film? Again, 1 through 100.
Oh gosh, I think the audience, I mean, people that are going to go see this movie are going to want to see it. So I think that's going to be higher. I'm going to say 88%.
88, Terry Loda.
Ooh. I'll go a little less. I'll go 80%.
86, Noodles closest on that one.
Hey.
Now, next section of course, are quotes, and this film is chock full of them. Can't see the line, can you, Russ? Merry Christmas, shitter's full.
Yeah.
Jelly of the Month Club, that's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark. Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, kiss his ass, happy Hanukkah. You don't wear short pants around snots, if you know what I mean. It's just best to let him finish. I don't know. This one I forgot about. This one cracked me up. I don't know about the cat, but I sure am enjoying it. And of course,
the lime jello.
yeah. And of course, You serious, Clark? Noodles, what quotes jumped out at you from this film? Did I leave any meat on the bone?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. I didn't think there was a lot of funny quotes. The funniest, most iconic line is the shitter's full line. Merry Christmas, shitter's full. It's not that funny. It's
all right.
It's not. The visual of him, dumping the stuff in the sewer in his robe is kind of entertaining. And Cousin Eddie's probably the funniest, most odd character in the whole movie. But
no quotes, huh?
What's that?
So no quotes. So that's okay. That's no problem. Then we'll go to Terry Loda, who I know is frothing at the mouth with this one.
No, actually, you know what? It's a very subtle quote, and I'd forgotten about it until I watched the movie as if I was doing some kind of shitty homework yesterday and today. When Aunt Bethany is coming in and Clark's taking her up the stairs, and you just hear her go, "Don't throw me down, Clark." As if he's going to toss her off the porch. It was just a random line that I just must have missed around the first time around. But
that one went by me. I missed that one.
He's going to toss her like Beetlejuice.
I was going back and trying to, catch lines that made me laugh, but I didn't. I should have taken notes on ones that made me laugh because there was a lot.
All right, no problem. Listen to me. That's where your arguments come in here. So let's get to 5 fun facts. Though many of John Hughes' films have spawned sequels, the man himself was not a fan of retreads. The only sequels I was involved in were Under Duress. Was he writing at gunpoint while sitting on a stack of cash?
Hughes said that?
Yeah, Hughes said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying he wrote that in between 2 really good movies. He worked on Home Alone and Uncle Buck.
Right.
Which I love Uncle Buck.
I love Uncle Buck too.
Yeah, the writing in both those was way better than the writing on this. It was really dumb. I was just blown away. I was blown away that they got E.G. Marshall in this thing. Diane Ladd. They had some heavy hitters in this thing in bit parts with really awful lines.
Yeah.
It was,
heavy hitters if this is 1955. Number 2.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah.
Fun fact number 2, but don't be disappointed if you do not know that he's not a fan of sequels or haven't seen it, because National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure, was made for TV. It finds Randy Quaid and Miriam Flynn as Eddie and Catherine stranded on an island in the South Pacific for the holidays. Yes, really. And by the way, I'm shocked because he actually listed the number. It has a 12% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That's 27% more than I thought it would have.
So wait, didn't Randy Quaid actually do something similar to that in real life a few years back, on an island in Canada or something like that, where he abducted a woman looking like Aqualung?
Adam Carolla has Dennis Quaid on his podcast a lot. You're on Carolla's podcast a bunch, Noodles. And he, Dexter too, he said, Dennis Quaid comes in and goes, the only thing he says is, "Don't ask me about my brother."
So meth use, that's okay. You can ask about that. All right, yeah.
Fun fact number 3, Aunt Bethany is Betty Boop, Christmas Vacation marked the final film of Mae Questel, who began her voice career as Betty Boop in 1931. She died at the age of 89 in 1998. I'll take shitty cartoons for $800, Ken. Unless you're a Puerto Rican woman, they have shitloads of Betty Boop bumper stickers and cars for some reason all over. Never understood that.
Wasn't she like the first anime porn basically for guys? They were like tugging one out in World War II to pictures of Betty Boop.
Can you imagine you're about to die and that's the last thing you jerk off to before a sniper rifle goes to your head? A little squeaky cartoon that doesn't show anything and a shitty haircut. Yuck. Number 4, in the scene, Ellen Griswold apologizes to Mrs. Shirley, the wife of Clark's boss / Eddie's kidnapping victim, assuring her that, quote, this is our family's first kidnapping when in fact it's their second. As we know of, in the first Vacation film, they kidnapped John Candy at Wally World.
At gunpoint.
Yeah.
Or
sorry, kids. Moose Park's closed. Moose out front should have told you so.
Moose out front. That's John Candy was the best part of the first Vacation movie.
You mean it wasn't Beverly D'Angelo's tits? Because it was for me.
It was for me and my
I said
11-year-old self.
Yeah, I said Beverly D'Angelo's tits were the best part of that for me.
I know somebody that alleges that he was deflowered by Beverly D'Angelo.
Oh, let me guess. Was he dragged behind enemy lines and forced to at gunpoint like John Hughes forced to write sequels?
Yeah, right. He's kidnapped in the what is it that? Yeah. That wood paneled station wagon.
Yeah, the family truckster.
The 4 headlights.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo was the original Nexum head cult mistress, right?
Yeah, he was very young and she was older and she just kept threatening him with a good time and finally he called her on it and
she delivered, I bet.
Jesus.
As the story goes, yeah.
Is this someone famous?
Not necessarily, but yeah. I don't know famous. He plays in a band that I know I'm friendly with.
Dexter Holland.
No, not my band.
All right, number 5. In both the original Vacation and European Vacation, Rusty is believed to be the older of the 2 Griswold children. In Christmas Vacation, Rusty somehow morphs into Audrey's younger brother.
I thought about that. I thought Rusty was older. I couldn't remember for sure. But Johnny Galecki was great. He was probably the best actor in this film. I got to give it up. The kids were fine. I'm not gonna go after Galecki or Juliet.
Glad that's we didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Well, now it's go ahead.
Full disclosure, our bass player Todd was in Juliet and the Licks. So I have a sort of a connection there, and I'm a big fan of Juliet's work, and Cape Fear, she was great. She was great in Natural Born Killers. So
very good at Natural Born Killers. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I thought that's why you didn't like this movie because she picked Todd to be in the band instead of you. So yeah, I'm glad you're not carrying any grudges around with you.
They were a good band. She was really cool. A lot of energy. I don't know if she's still doing it or not. She's been really busy with acting lately. But she reminded me of like Iggy Pop or something. Iggy Pop meets Chrissy Hind or something like that.
Wild on stage, right? She had like a crazy stage presence, like bending over backwards and like crazy stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Was she cutting herself and jumping in the crowd too?
Peanut butter, the whole thing. Yeah.
That's hot. Okay, now it's time for our fans to get in on the fun with us and ask a gutter. Bango2331, one of our biggest fans, he says, I always thought Christmas Vacation was overrated. Looking forward to this. That's not a question, that's a statement.
I completely agree with him. Yeah.
At Brandon Oglesby at Newark Night, in your opinion, Noodles, was this the worst Chevy Chase funny dad role, or can you think of a worse one?
I can't think of a worse one. This is by far, yeah.
And the second half of his
in real life,
yeah.
The second half of his question, where does Beverly D'Angelo rank on your list of hot movie moms before the term MILF was dropped in American Pie 1999?
She's never done it for me, Beverly D'Angelo. Pretty lady. I would not, just not, she doesn't do it for me. Now, was it Nicolette Scorsese in the film? She's the saleswoman at the whatever the like lingerie.
Sure.
JC Penney.
I don't think she's a real Scorsese. You took the name, but doesn't matter. She's pretty stunning.
It's amazing how, like, when you see how some of these films, like in the 80s, you're like, all right, in the 80s, you could see she was hot. Like that woman still, you're like, God damn. At Zyphos, I would still like to know, is it still a bit nipply outside?
Yeah. Great boob puns. It would just so cliche and yeah. I didn't think it was funny at all. It was just so dumb.
At Taco Shirt Krillin, I love to ask a question about the movie, but I always found it boring and can't remember much about it. So instead, what bands have you been listening to these days, Noodles?
Oh gosh, like I said before we started taping, we just played with Plague Vendor, and they're great. If you ever get a chance to see them live, they're phenomenal. But also check out their stuff. They've got some great songs and great music. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Australian bands. Amyl and the Sniffers is really phenomenal. I love them. There's a band called Pissed Idiots. It's Pist Idiots, also from Australia, and of course the Chats. We got to do some songs or some shows with the Chats in Europe a few years ago, and they're great. Just a lot of fun.
At Nemirovsky, not related much to this movie, but my friend has a girlfriend that he doesn't like very much. He won't shut up about the bitch. He really has no self-esteem anymore because she's sleeping with his friends. What's the best way to keep them separated?
Yeah, I'm not going there. He's on his own.
Maybe it's time to invest in a hammerhead.
Yeah.
Wicked at Wicked Awesome. How does the pool scene in this movie compare with Phoebe Cates in the Fast Times at Ridgemont High scene? My answer is it doesn't compare.
It doesn't compare. There's also a scene in was it The Man with Two Brains? I think Steve Martin, where he kind of knocks out a pane of glass. You know, similar kind of situation. And I thought it was something like that was gonna happen. All of a sudden, he turns around. It's that little girl, which is just creepy, and then it just kind of goes into this weird thing. The scenes did not connect at all. And at first, I'm going, what is he doing looking out the window at the? It didn't look like a backyard pool. It looked like a hotel resort pool. Like, what is he daydreaming? And then I realized, oh yeah, the pool. He wants to put the pool in the backyard.
Right.
They didn't make the connection clear at first.
Right. Next question coming from at Lord Snurts. Why are most Christmas movies awful?
Yeah, I mean they are. It's like Christmas music. Most Christmas music is really, really pretty bad. There's some good stuff, but most of it's really pretty bad.
Are you guys going to do an album of Christmas music like Bad Religion did?
It took them about 30 years to put a song out, right?
Yeah.
We put one out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we're not above cashing in.
The U2 cover, right?
You know what? I have a Christmas playlist, but I do good Christmas songs. Most of the stuff you hear on the radio, it's just you only listen to that melody or whatever, just because it's that time of the year. It takes you there. There are some good songs. "Oi to the World" is a great song, and the Vandals play that year-round. Mm-hmm. That's a really fun one. So. There's some good stuff out there, but for Christmas songs, but a lot of it's just really awful.
Every time I play Crazy Taxi in my little, video game system, and you guys come on and go, they are cashing fucking checks still from that game, I bet.
Yeah, I hope. I don't I don't sit around, counting my coins.
Yeah.
But
they call this a movie podcast. Which Rusty would you want on your side in a street fight? Anthony Michael Hall, Jason Lively, Johnny Galecki, or Ethan Embry?
Oh gosh, didn't Anthony Michael Hall get jacked for a little while around the time he was doing Saturday Night Live?
I always thought he was thin and spindly.
Yeah, I thought he got jacked for a little while. So I'm going to go with Anthony Michael Hall.
See, I'm going to go with Ethan Suplee because he played a white supremacist, and those guys know hate and know how to fight. So I'm going to take him on my side.
Okay.
Not that I support that, just saying for fighting purposes.
Right.
Terry, you have a pick?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I would go the same route as you, Kev, because that dude's a monster now. If you ever see him, he
lost a
all
lot
the
of weight. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's all jacked. So
maybe Johnny Galecki would be a nice choice to bite your ankles like a dachshund.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to pick Galecki to have their back in a street fight.
At Zen's producer at Bex, this is blasphemous. Another statement, but nonetheless.
Yeah. I have friends that are going to come at me that love this movie, and they're going to come at me for this. So that's all right.
If you guys are ever dropped from a tour because of this, just please let us know. I'd be interested.
Yeah.
We were going to open for the Rolling Stones, but turns out they're big National Lampoon's fans.
Yeah. Yeah. There are no gotcha questions. They're just going to hate you because you don't like Cousin Eddie and his family. At U2 USC. All right, I have to read this one. He should come out swinging at this crossroads, get over any feelings, exit this relationship, and leave it behind. Just smash it up. When she's not the one, it's living in chaos, even if he's pretty fly for a white guy. Give him support and tell him you're going to go far, kid.
All right, that was better than the first one. And they went deep. They went to Crossroads on the very first record. Yep. So all right, I'll give them a little more props than the last guy.
So there's no better way to go out of Ask a Gutter than it's now time, Terry Loda, to let our buddy Noodles from the Offspring tear into this holy film, for Christ's sakes. Terry Loda, let's have Noodles gut the sacred cow.
Oh wait, was I supposed to join in?
You could if you want to. If you want to do it again, we can. But it's cool.
That's all right.
Your turn, sir. Go ahead. Let her rip.
All right. Well, let's start from the beginning. The arguably the worst Christmas song ever, and featuring the great Mavis Staples, right? And it's a song called Christmas Vacation, and it's just awful. That's one of the Christmas songs you never heard played on the radio ever, because it's that bad. And with this like cartoon Santa, there's just really bad cartoon. It's like nobody would. It's just bad. It's just not well done.
100%. That animation drags
way too long. Goes on way too long. The song's awful, and
should have brought Lindsey Buckingham back for the.
Motherfucker! It's right in here. It's right here.
Dude, I would go with Kenny Loggins too. With some kind of Caddyshack stuff,
Oh, you're talking right up our alley.
Yeah. Anyways, then the first scene that from the movie, really they're driving to go get a Christmas tree in some place that it looks like Montana. There's no mountains outside of Chicago, right, where they supposedly live. So all of a sudden they're in Montana in the mountains, and the first thing Clark does is somebody gets up on his ass, and he gets all pissed off because he's going slow. And then when the car goes around him, he speeds up and won't let the guy pass. Dick move. That's the first thing he does. That's I think that should be, punishable, life in prison for people that do that speed up when you're trying to get somewhere and go around them, and they just get in front of you and slow you down. Life in prison for those motherfuckers, really.
Especially in a Ford Taurus station wagon. They're not to be taken seriously. Ram them off the road, Spy Hunter style. That's what I say.
There you go. So, how about, immediately they're establishing Clark is a prick. He's just a dick that nobody's going to like.
Puts his family in danger, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the premise is he's just kind of this lovable schlub who keeps, putting himself unknowingly in situations that result in disaster. But no, he's a dick. He's a dick knowingly fucking with these kind of redneck looking guys in this pickup truck. What do you think's going to happen? The whole scene, and then the whole scene just kind of seems, once it moves beyond what a dick he is, right. It's really unbelievable that all of a sudden he ends up underneath the logs on a logging truck between the front and back wheels, like accidentally, you would have just been destroyed. It's not gonna work. You have to be a stunt driver to do that.
Right.
And then they crash the car, and they just, okay, let's continue on with what we were doing. Let's go find this Christmas tree in the middle of the woods. There's trees everywhere, but they're walking around in this open field until all of a sudden the light from heaven shines on the one perfect tree, right?
Right.
But of course, Clark doesn't bring a saw. So then they cut to the next scene, and they dug it out somehow with their teeth in their hands, right? They dug the tree out.
Motherfucker! It got that
Frozen snow.
oh!
Also, it's a 40-foot long tree, right? It's a 4-story tree that they're going to put in their living room. But yeah, they just tore it out by the roots. Makes no sense. Should I keep going? Where do you want me to go?
No. You as long as you want to. Keep going as long as whenever you're done. Keep going.
Yeah. Then you meet the neighbors, which is Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Nicholas Guest, who is Christopher Guest, Nigel Tufnell's brother. And they're like the yuppie couple next door who stylishly, they look just kind of like douchebags, right?
Right.
You know, just yuppie douchebags. But I think they're more likable than Clark, and they're not really fucking with Clark the way Clark is fucking with them. Chopping up the trees, threatening to sodomize Julia Louis-Dreyfus with the tree. He said Clark's a dick. He's just not a likable guy at all.
He sicks his Rottweiler on her.
Yeah.
Does he say? How about the squirrel?
The squirrel, but the dog chases the squirrel out the front door.
That's right. Yeah, when she comes to the door. Yeah.
Did you notice? Just to interrupt for 1 second. Did you ever notice? And we did this because on this podcast we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 John Hughes films. A lot of his characters, like Ferris Bueller is prime example, are dickheads. Because Ferris Bueller, prime example. Why? Because he's such an asshole to Cameron. He treats him like shit the entire time. You make a great point too with Clark doing the same thing to his neighbors. They're just trying to live their life, and he's imposing his life on them. It's like, asshole, stay in your own house, turn the lights off. That's a great point you made.
Yeah, I mean, and Clark comes on with this 40-foot tree, and he comes out with a hockey mask like Jason, and a chainsaw, and the neighbor goes, Clark, where are you going to put that tree? Like, it's way too big. And he says, bend over, I'll show you. And the guy says, you can't talk to me like that. He goes, I wasn't talking to you, suggesting he meant it for Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, the wife and the couple. It's just not cool, And then he starts sawing away. They put the thing put the tree in the house. It's, it takes out windows. He's getting sap all over himself. Then the next scene, they show him in bed trying to read a magazine, and the pages are just sticking to his hand because of the sap or whatever. Or
maybe he was jerking off in the bathroom. We don't know that. We didn't see that scene.
Yeah, right. I mean, but he doesn't have soap and water. He can't get the sap off his hands. Yeah. Just done. And the acting. Sorry, I think Chevy Chase should have. Well, whoever was going to play that part, you want him to be likable at least, right? Don't you want the characters in your movie to be likable? The main guy,
I think he plays more of that doofy, upper middle class white guy. Like, yeah, I'm just I'm here for my family, and I'm just goofball, and that's what he's trying to play. I don't think it's intentional though. I don't.
But I think maybe the prickishness is just kind of who Chevy Chase is, and it comes through.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you read the line earlier where he's he's hoping about the Christmas bonus from his boss, and his boss asks him to do a report for some convention or something. Actually, that was kind of funny. What Clark does is he's a food additive specialist, and he's designed some food additive that is like non-toxic, but it creates a shine that protects the cornflakes from milk absorbing in, so it keeps them crunchy. I thought that was pretty funny. That's that was something that was thought out.
After you learn that, that's a good point, Noodles. Imagine though the shits you're gonna have after eating that syrup. It's just cereal. It's just gonna shoot right out of your asshole like that sled shot right down the snow.
Yeah, and the thing shoots him like 10 miles away, right?
Right.
The family at the very end of it is like up there, like going, ooh, like at the very end, like they saw where he landed. Like, you're not seeing that. There's no way you're seeing where he is. He went through a forest and across a highway.
Right.
Ended up in some shopping lot parking. Some parking lot at the mall or something. Like, no way is the family seeing that. It was just dumb. It's just really dumb. Bad writing. Sorry, John Hughes.
He's dead. He can't hear you.
He was saving it all for Home Alone 2. You know.
Home Alone 2 is fucking terrible. I love when people try and defend that film. It's trash. One's good. Two's terrible. Two's so bad.
Are there more after
yes.
the two? I think
there was a third. There was a third one that came out when we were like in 93, 94. Like we were in high school. I remember them. And then the third one came out, and it wasn't Macaulay Culkin. It was some other kid, and it wasn't John Hughes who did it. But yeah, Home Alone 2 is so bad because again, it's all watered down shit. And the fact, and here's my biggest problem. In the end, with the neighbor in the first one, the neighbor can hear him. There's shit going on in the house. The neighbor comes and saves him. In the second one, he's in an abandoned fucking house in the Upper West Side. They're remodeling it. It's closed. It's got everything. You know, it's being constructed or remodeled. Excuse me. The goddamn homeless woman he ran into in Central fucking Park, who's 2 or 3 blocks away, at least. Somehow the bat signal goes up that he's in trouble and miraculously knows where the fuck he lives and saves him. Horse shit.
Didn't it turn out she wasn't real? She was like an angel or something?
No, I mean, they were trying to do like the metaphor, like she may have been the savior. I haven't seen it in so long, but I remember going, that doesn't happen, as we yell on this podcast quite often.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, back to you on your soapbox, not me on mine.
Okay. So after the whole tree thing, you know, people start showing up. Like I said, E.G. Marshall. I'm like, what is he doing in this film? You know, because, you know, I've seen him in movies where he was great. He's a great actor, like Tora, right? You know, 12 Angry Men. You know, he's like a real actor. He has no business being in this movie. Same with Diane Ladd. She's a real actor. And she plays Clark's mom. And she's one of the, you know, shining moments of this whole movie, I guess. But it's such a small part. It doesn't really matter, you know. I guess their role is to show why Clark loves Christmas so much, and he wants everything to be perfect around Christmas. You know, it doesn't work because he's such a prick,
right?
You know,
and the motive is pure greed, right? He wants money for his pool. His job sounds probably pretty high paying, right? You're developing these food additives for Monsanto or whatever the hell it is. You know,
yeah,
like,
right.
You piss all your money away throughout the year. You can't put a pool in without your bonus check. Like,
is that really Monsanto? Is that really Monsanto?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Well, I think it's Kellogg's Monsanto subsidiary, or you know, they don't obviously say the. I don't think they say the company, but
no,
you know, Mr. Shirley is his boss. He's the new executive that's just kind of taken over. It sounds like, because when they kidnap him later, he explains why he canceled all the bonus checks and nobody's getting bonus. That's the thing, that the one, like, I guess tying thread is Clark is dependent. He's already spent money. He's like $8,000 on this stupid pool that he wants, but he's counting on that bonus check, which there's no, you know, of course he's not going to get it. What is I was looking this up on IMDb, and they say the Griswold's family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster. Every scene, you know what's going to happen. When he gets out the ladder to put up the lights, you go, oh, okay, the ladder's going to collapse on him. You know, you just, there's no surprise on this. It's you see it all happening. Everything is predictable. It's just really overwrought and overdone. I mean, Lucille Ball was doing this shit in the 50s on TV. You know, why in the 80s are they still making movies like this shit?
Well, if you didn't think that this would be predictable with him doing pratfalls, you're the asshole, because this is the third film. If you're paying to see him 3 times, that is on you.
I loved it. I loved it when he was, and I did love it as a kid. I loved when he was Gerald Ford and he was on the ladder and he's falling down, you know, and you
want him to go back to eating pissy sandwiches from the dog. The blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Air kissing Chrissy Brinkley.
Well, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, the first movie I thought was funny, entertaining, but I didn't think it was a great movie. It's kind of forgettable, except for John Candy was great. Moose Out Front should have told you. That was the best part of that movie. Yeah. So anyways, the thing about the lights, you know, and of course, he staples his arm, the ladder's falling. It's just disaster after disaster. And he keeps going at it. And this is just gonna, you see it ending bad. I don't think there's anything funny in that. I don't, I guess it's just all, what is it? Schadenfreude, the misery of somebody else is kind of funny. And maybe that's why they kind of make him out to be a dick, so that it's okay to laugh at him when he does hurt himself. And
I think that's the premise for why Ridiculous is on MTV 24 hours a day, right?
Yeah, I don't
watching people injure themselves.
I like the better ones called Jackass or Tosh.0. And
yeah,
it's obvious Rob Dyrdek has tons of child porn. Like he's stashed in Viacom's offices and videoed them looking at it. Hence why that show's on 20 out of 24 hours a day, like Terry said.
I think the Jackass movies and shows, those were great.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Still great.
They kind of knew what they were doing, what they were getting into. It wasn't, and it was real, what
Yeah.
themselves in real situations. Half of the gags in this movie just would never have happened out the way they show it happening on. It just never would have happened that way. Right. It's hard to suspend disbelief,
Gotcha. Any more points, or is that all? You have as much time as you want to. Keep going if you want to. If you're done.
Okay, so Brian Doyle Murray plays Mr. Shirley, the new executive, the head boss at the whatever food additive company.
Right.
And Cousin Eddie, Clark finds out he's not getting his bonus. Nobody's getting bonuses this year. And so he throws a fit and says something like he wishes that guy would be killed, or, he has dies a horrible death. And so Cousin Eddie goes and kidnaps him. How does Cousin Eddie find out where he lives, by the way? And
he does say the street name. Oh, I'd really love for him is that big house on blah, blah, blah lane. That's
really? Okay.
It's a complete off the cuff comment. I mean, if it is the biggest house on the block, then I hear you. I did catch that. I go, man, all right. Because if I thought the same thing too. Yeah.
But that's not the most unbelievable thing. The most unbelievable thing is they kidnap him, steal him from his, the warmth of his house on Christmas Eve, drag him in that shitty RV back to this, the shitty Griswold's house where, the windows are busted out. One of the trees already burned down. There's a dog going through the trash. And the guy, all of a sudden has an epiphany. Oh, I should have given him bonus checks. No, that's not, you're going to be pissed. You're going to be pissed off. I ain't giving you no bonus check. You kidnapped me, I'm sorry. It just wouldn't work that way. You're going to piss the guy off, not make him oh, I'm really sorry. I mistreated you,
They should do that to Trump and see if he would ever, drop the charges and give his employees a 20% bonus in real life.
Right? Yeah. See, he would probably do it. He's a nice guy.
He was in Home Alone too. You never know.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know the Canadian, whatever, the CBN or CBC, whenever they play Home Alone, they hate Trump so much they cut him out of the TV version of that. That's beyond insane. That's insane. Sorry, go ahead.
God.
Yeah. So the other main thing is when Cousin Eddie, so there's the pool, the bonus check pool thing, that doesn't pay out well until it does pay off at the end. Thank God Cousin Eddie saved the day by kidnapping the boss. But the other thing is when the shitter's full and he's dumping the sewage into the sewer, and Clark says something about, I hope those gases don't build up. I pity someone who lights a match near the sewer. So you kind of see that going. And at one point, when they Uncle Lewis, who's played by the guy from Preetsy's Honor.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of very unique looking actor, really interesting kind of character. And again, kind of wasted on that little bit part of Uncle Lewis, but he lights a match and you see this kind of flame shoot out of the room and you're thinking, was that the sewer? But no, it was just the Christmas tree that they went and chopped down going up in flames. And, then he goes and chops down another tree from the front yard. Why didn't you just take the tree in the front yard in the first place instead of driving to Montana to chop one down in the middle of a frozen field? but I was wondering, is that supposed to be like the sewage gas? Is that connected? They're not clear on that. You know, I guess it's just the tree going up. But
Right.
eventually, somebody does light a match near the sewer, and it sends Clark's Christmas decorations, the Santa Claus and the reindeer, in perfect order, just streaking through the sky with a tail like a comet. You know, from, I don't know, sewage gas or something. You know, why it's streaking through the air like that, or maybe it's the Christmas lights that are strung to it or something. But in perfect order. You know, the ones that he just kind of dismantled and tore apart too. By the way, all of a sudden they're reconnected in perfect order, like you would see Santa and his reindeer streaking through the sky.
See, that was the most believable part for me, because I've dropped some number twos that could easily ignite and disrupt a Christmas manger.
All right, I imagine Eddie's would be pretty potent.
I'm sure tour bus could also have done the same thing too, Noodles.
Yeah, you know what? No number twos on the tour bus. You're not
Really?
allowed to do. Yeah, that's a hard and fast rule, because it will destroy the ride for everybody.
What happened? What if there's you got the cold sweats, you're doing the little Moz breathing, and then you're like in the middle of like bumfuck Nebraska, and you're like, what do you do?
A hot bag it. You take two bags, double bag it, you know, put it over the thing, and yeah.
And you fling it out the window like your Dave Matthews Band tour bus.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm bagging that.
This is why they shouldn't do the ban on the plastic bags. This is why we need them. This is important shit that we have to do with these plastic bags. It's not going into the Pacific Ocean.
We're gonna shit in a burlap sack like an animal now?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's fucking funny. What else? Or is there anything else, or no? You tell me.
I think we've gone through the whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, you know, we could go. I'm trying to think what other points to, you know,
Alienated enough people at this point from your life.
Yeah. Every gag is just kind of the whole thing when he's stuck in the roof too, or like in the attic. First of all, Dolores Roberts' character, I guess it's the Ellen's mother.
Right.
She's, oh, why is it cold in here? Oh, this door and ladder are open. I better close it. Not checking to see, is like, hey, is anyone up there? You know, you're letting in cold air. Just closes it, and it locks once. Like it's just a pull down. But once it goes up, and somehow there's a latch that locks magically. Like doesn't make any sense at all.
Good point. You're absolutely right.
And it doesn't. What does that scene really have to do anything? I guess he does kind of. He's going through. He's freezing. It's freezing in the attic, and he's going through stuff. And he discovers a box of old films, and I guess he was kind of watching the old films, sitting on the trap door. By the way, which you would do, of course, if you're going to watch it. You're going to sit on the trap door, so that make sure you'll go down if somebody opens it. Which happens, of course, in the end. After he already went through, and I don't know why, once he steps, it goes through, and it looks like it's into his son's room, because it looks like he lands on the bunk beds. He doesn't just climb through the hole he just made. He already made a hole, might as well climb through that. No, then he gets back up and starts watching these films. It doesn't make any sense.
I found it a little odd where he was hiding the presents.
Yeah.
It's like this little hole in the thing. Like, that's where you hide your Playboys when you're like 11, right? It's
or cocaine when you're a trafficker, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, the gun you killed your ex-wife with. You know,
I can't wait. I can't wait to get invited to Casa del Noodles, and I'm going right to his fucking attic and looking for all those little spaces.
Yeah. I don't have an attic, unfortunately.
Noodles, give me a score. What you think this film is, 1 to 10?
Oh man, I'm gonna give it a 2.3. It's that.
Woo. That's hatred. That's hatred.
You know, I've tried to watch this before. I think yesterday was the first time I've watched this movie all the way through. I've seen scenes. I've lost interest. I've never watched the whole thing all the way through.
Sorry to put you through that.
He chose the goddamn film, Terry.
Well, you were talking about films you hate, and I go, this is one that I could honestly, I despise the film.
Yeah.
it should be better than it is. I think the writing is really bad. I don't think the jokes are funny at all. You see them coming from a mile away. All the gags, you see what's going to happen, as it starts. Yeah.
All right.
Too predictable.
So would you rather rewatch this again or a Christmas movie on the Hallmark Channel?
Which Christmas movie? Yeah,
there we go. Now we're into your past.
Yeah.
All right. Well, these notes, of course, brought to you by guttingthesacredcow.com, where you can pick up some sweet-ass merch, tank tops, cell phone holders, T-shirts, hats, mugs, you name it. Have you written a 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review on our podcast platform of choice? No? What the fuck is taking you so long to do so? Please do that. It helps us in the algorithm. And subscribe to us on YouTube. That also helps too. And guttingthesacredcow.com if you wish to advertise with us or just to say hi. Notes. Looks like Johnny Galecki is the same height now as when he filmed this film.
You know what? He was a good actor as a kid. And you know what? I kept thinking he was the older brother. At first, when I didn't recognize him, he looked so different. I thought it was the older brother from Wonder Years.
Fred Savage?
Yeah. No,
the older brother.
Oh, Jason Hervey. Wayne.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
I pulled that out on my ass.
And then I realized he would have been older at them. And then I realized who it was. You saw a couple of his facial expressions.
Right.
For me to say. And then I recognized, oh shit, that's the guy from Big Bang Theory and Roseanne. I can't remember his character's name in that. But.
Remember how teenagers in the 80s, mainly John Hughes films, wore berets? What a terrible idea that was. I would love to smash a baguette over a dude's head that wore a beret. Ever.
Molly Ring, remember her wearing a
of
beret?
Course, yeah. John Hughes, that's what I said, John Hughes films. They all wore that.
The sister in Uncle Buck, when she's out at the party, doesn't she have a beret on?
And Bug. What's his last name? Spray?
Bug.
You ever hear Ritual Killing? God, it's a great film.
Your girlfriend wear one in something?
Did she have a hat? No. Oh no. Cameron had like the newsboy hat, but it wasn't a beret.
Okay. All right.
Chevy Chase is the perfect middle-aged dorky dad. I think he really plays that dorkiness well. I do agree about your points. I'll get to those in a minute about his assholiness. I feel the same way about Christmas trees as I do my food. Go somewhere after and buy it after someone hunted and then pay a 40% markup. I will never ever go and hunt for food or a Christmas tree ever.
Same.
I never understood those people who found Juliette Lewis hot. I'd rather date Richard Lewis. Not
yeah.
She's a twig who has a constant who farted face. Not for me.
You know what? I gotta defend Juliette Lewis. I like her because she's got a certain style.
It's called Mountain Dew style.
Yeah, I don't know. She's rock and roll, and I hate that. I really do.
I could see how you two would mesh. Not my cut. I agree. The lingerie lady is more my speed.
Yeah. She dated. She dated Sean Penn for a while. She also dated Billy Duffy from the Cult.
Wow.
Yeah.
That didn't springboard her into anything. She didn't she was in any other movies, was she?
There wasn't a whole lot. I couldn't get a whole lot of information. I was wondering, her name's Scorsese, and I was wondering if there was any relation, but they didn't have any, they would have said if she was related to Martin Scorsese.
She couldn't have Stephanie Seymour her way into a Guns N' Roses video as well. That's silly.
Yeah. Right. I'm surprised.
If Clark didn't bring a saw or other tools, explain to me how he can yank a tree off the ground and hoist it on his car roof with the help of a midget son and 2 twig women. That doesn't happen. You may have made that point, Noodles. I'm with you 100%. Julia Louis-Dreyfus wearing sunglasses at night like she's doing coke off of Paul Hogan's cock at the China Club in 1989.
Yeah.
Beverly D'Angelo, the only woman to rock a sexy, slight overbite. Sorry, Emma Stone. There's a reason you didn't get an invite to this party.
You know what? There is something to be said about a slight malocclusion, for sure.
Look
There's
at
something
you with the big vocabulary words.
Yeah.
I guess hanging out with Dexter with his PhDs and everything has rubbed off on you.
Yeah, I used to read a lot when I was a janitor. That's what words I vaguely understand.
Have you seen Beverly D'Angelo now, especially in Entourage? Her voice dropped 8 octaves, and it sounds like she's auditioning to be in the next season of Deadliest Catch.
Yeah, I've never seen that show.
Really? Oh, it's good. Yeah. I can't figure out what Brian Doyle Murray role is my favorite. Is it this or is it Noah's Arcade from Wayne's World? Just kidding. It's Lou the Caddy Master from Caddyshack. What's that sign say? No bare feet. What's that sign say? No fighting. You owe me 1 gumball machine. Noodles, what are some of the favorite movies that you guys played on the tour bus, Offspring tour bus, besides midget and gangbang porn?
Usually the midget and gangbang porn is only watched in our bunks, but yeah, alone. The number one, hands down, is Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
We've watched that with the commentary on. We've watched the director's cut with the commentary. Love that film. We've literally watched that like 75, 80 times on the tour bus over the years.
Cool.
Yeah. That any kind of a gangster movie like Goodfellas is a great one to watch. Any of the first 2 Godfather movies, although the third one is pretty good. And then
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Hard. Another great Christmas movie, Die Hard.
Oh, my old co-host would viciously disagree with you that Die Hard is not a Christmas film, and the fact that he's a full Jew telling everyone what Christmas movies are and are not, I found that hilarious. That he was very much anti-Die Hard as a Christmas film. Nonetheless, great film.
Yeah.
Next one, the scene with the hot chick in the lingerie shop is classic. That whole Chevy Chase has done that in a million different ways. That's the best way he's done that, kind of flubbing up words while being flustered, I say.
His arrogance, even though his arrogance still comes through and kills it for me. He's so smug about it that the puns just fall flat for me. I don't funny. If he were like really kind of like a good-natured schlub who was, literally making mistakes, but his arrogance just permeates the whole scene and it ruins it.
The Christmas light scene inspired thousands of, maybe even millions, guys across the world to make their house shine brighter than the Luxor in Vegas. And then everyone has to drive by and clog up the streets to appreciate that house. Except for the neighbors who just want to go to bed without the sun in their bedroom until 11 p.m. at night every day for a month. That's selfish. All right. What happens when Chevy Chase is in the attic and then stumbles upon his wife's collection of dick Polaroids from college, or the 8mm film where she's getting rotisseried by all of her college fraternities? Wait till he stumbles upon that gem. There's definitely a void
that would have been funnier than what we did.
Yeah. So you're getting spit roasted.
Yeah.
There had to be a snuff film in that 8mm reel that he had.
Oh yeah. There's a definite void of jokes, though, after the department store scene until Cousin Eddie arrives. It does go flat for a little while. It does not. It's just like a lot of smirkable humor, very safe, cutesy poo jokes okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why the fuck is Julia Louis-Dreyfus and her husband wearing spacesuits like they're trying to sweat out water weight while making their weight class in wrestling?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty funny bit. Of course they're setting it up. All I want to do is, be naked, sipping wine in the dark, kissing every inch of your body. And she's like, after a shower, like.
And he sweated 18 pounds off. Hey, listen, guys, I don't know about you, but nothing gets my dick harder than a shark's tooth than seeing my wife dressed like the MTV Moon Man.
Yeah, right.
Hey, kids, that's Danny Glover's house in Lethal Weapon that Clark Griswold's house is. Did you know that? Fun fact number 6.
Really?
Yes, it is. The only thing Chevy Chase didn't put lights on is that toilet that blew up from the bathroom in Lethal Weapon 2. Love that film. Johnny Galecki wearing that Blackhawks jersey could easily fit in my 7-year-old daughter. And it must have been tough for a teenager buying his clothes at the children's place at age 13. But hey, what do I know? I'm 6'2", and I'm doing a silly movie podcast, and he's worth $100 million. So I should shut the fuck up.
And had a 2-year stint with Kaylee Cuoco.
Oh yeah. Did he stand on 2 phone books or 3? Did it make out with her? Cousin Eddie is a true gift from the cinema gods, but he is the last person you want to see in your hotel pool or sitting on your flight. The repartee between Cousin Eddie and Clark is fantastic. I love when they're back and forth. That's always fun. Clark could have jumped off the sled when he's shooting at 1,000,000 miles an hour into the billowy white snow, and I would love to have jumped into Belly D'Angelo's billowy white titties.
What was with that shirt, right? It looked like it was going to be the best cleavage ever, but there's no cleavage shot with that shirt.
No.
But it's down to the middle of her nipples.
No. You tease. Every time you can, she showed him in the first one. I forgot about the second one too. Every time you hear Mela Kaliki Maka, I think about beating off and looking out of a window. And I'll repeat the great David Tell's joke. There's always a difference between masturbating and looking out of a window and masturbating while looking in a window. You knew I was going to bring that one up, Terry.
Oh, yeah.
Good joke. Yeah.
Great. He's the best. Whenever you hear a kid say the word Santa Claus, just assume that they were homeschooled in a dog shit state that's probably in the SEC. I blame this movie for inspiring dumb dildo sport fans for getting the idea of putting their name or a celebrity's name on the back of a jersey. Stop that shit. Hate that. First and the last time I've seen a Meisterbrow beer in a movie. By the way, a Phi Kappa Tau fraternity beer favorite, circa 1999. A case of that beer, $8 at the time.
We used to drink Meisterbrow at our old bass player's house, at his mother's house. Every weekend. It was dirt cheap. It was like $2-3 a 6 or 12 pack. Right. And we drank a ton of Meisterbrow, coming up. That's
What is your favorite shitty beer, Noodles and Terry?
Right now, shitty beer?
or in general. Could be from past, could be present.
I just like to drink shitty beer, but I don't like IPAs. I don't like them hoppy. I just like Mexican lagers usually.
Okay. Terry?
You know me, I love a nice Hefeweizen if I'm going to get fancy, but same thing. Like if I'm going to drink all day, I can't do the IPAs. They taste like when you throw up beer. It's like, oh, let me put that in instead of coming back out. Like that doesn't do it for me.
It tastes like oatmeal. I don't like it. I'm a Sam Adams guy. Shitty beer. Boy, I couldn't even tell. How about a Country Club Old 40?
I like a Miller High Life once in a while.
Oh, the champagne of beers. Oh, do tell.
That's right.
Mickey's Big Mouth.
Oh,
yeah.
I never had one. I never had one of those. Are they worth it or?
You're not missing out.
Yeah. I suspect as much. Yeah. They really did nail the family dynamics with this film at holiday time. It's not understated, and more importantly, it's not done over the top. The in-laws who don't like each other, they barely tolerate each other, the senile grandparent, and the one grandparent who just doesn't give a fuck and says whatever. I think they nailed that perfectly with that whole the dynamic. I like that.
Can I jump in there with one weird ass thing that I noticed?
Sure.
When they're on the front lawn and Cousin Eddie appears with the family.
Yeah.
Why does the grandfather instantly want to kiss the little boy, like the little mute boy? Like, is that like such a predator prey? Like he's the perfect pedophile bait, right? He's a mute boy, and then he's warned about the fungus in his mouth. So
right, and
he's a little too aggressive, in my opinion, for the kiss.
Yeah. A little too handsy. And by the way, how the fuck did they not see that big ass monstrosity parked out in front of their house, and he just sidles up next to him like, "Yeah, Clark, great lights." Like, wait, how do you not go outside and see that just sitting there?
Yeah,
makes Walter White's look like an Airstream.
I love to see someone negotiate a 20% increase after kidnapping their CEO. You think if I kidnapped Vince McMahon, he'd drop the charges and let me bang his daughter, Stephanie? Exactly,
yeah, right.
If Terry tried that, he would just ask for honey barbecue wings and have the Mean Street Posse run a train on him. So let me get this straight. The boss's wife runs to get the husband with the cops. She keeps on her negligee, but throws on a gigantic fur coat. Is she sending one hell of a mixed message to this family? Like, is this a strippergram for Christmas? I mean, would it have been funnier if she would offer like a hand job to Clark while he's standing in front of his family? Just like, you know what? You're going to be cheap to your employees. I'll show you, you cheap bastard. I've seen this.
The SWAT team scene.
Over the top.
Yeah.
but couldn't be perfect song for that. That song and the pace is just perfect for it. Here Comes Santa Claus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Seen this movie a million times. It's quotable as all hell. Throw it on at Christmas time. Donna Gootee, my mother, does that nonstop ad nauseum. Throw it on in the middle of August. Nope, not really for me. It doesn't pass the remote test for me. So Noodles, the remote test is if you ever stumble upon it at any point on cable, do you drop the remote and finish it out no matter where you are? For me, this does not. Where it does, if I catch Cousin Eddie on, then I go, all right, let me catch his hijinks. This is the best Christmas film, hands down. It is much better than that dog shit Christmas Story and Borefest, It's a Wonderful Life. I'm not co-signing on that stuff. This one...
Wonderful Life has, like, you want to do good, you want to be good, but you're going to end up trying to commit suicide at least once before the season is over. It's dark. So, that's way more realistic than this movie is.
We did that very film on this podcast. Go back and listen to it if you have an hour. I listened to you guys, your takedown of Elf, and I had to disagree. Elf is great. Okay, we got one listen in there.
Fan too.
Yeah. Go for my favorite ones are Philadelphia and what the hell else? That's a good one that Dave Landau did. Face Off is another funny one. I'm glad this film rebounded nicely after that fetal alcohol syndrome baby known as European Vacation. That was fucking awful, that one. Ugh. Unfortunately, Vegas Vacation.
And more berets, too.
Yeah, more plenty of berets. Oh, way too beret heavy for this American. Unfortunately, Vegas Vacation was worse than shitting your pants an hour in on a cross-country flight. That was awful. If you've seen that. If you haven't...
The European one. I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
The only one I've watched all the way through is the first one, First Vacation. Yeah.
I will say this, Noodles, you've done what not many people on this podcast have done. You've got me to drop my score just a tinge because you made a great few points, especially about Chevy Chase being an ultimate narcissist, and that just struck a chord with me, reminding me how John Hughes' lead characters are all insane egomaniac narcissists, and you make some good points. I had this film at a 7. I now give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's still funny. There are lulls. You're exactly very much so. The puns are like, all right, okay, cutesy and predictable. We get it, but again, you know what you're signing up for. It's still funny. I like it. Am I dying on the hill for it? No, but I'll still fire it up and enjoy it here and there. Terry Loda, Your Honor.
It's one of those things. I never watched this movie with any intention of anything. Right? You put it on, it's in the background at this point. But as a kid, a young teenager, I thought it was hilarious. Back then. But comedy was different, right? You approach it with this 2022 attitude. It's a little bit meh.
We call it watching it with the jeweler's loop on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still, another thing it reminded me is that it is the one and only time I have ever heard the words "newel post" referred to, like part of the banister. Like
I've never heard that. I don't remember that.
Like, why did you just say I fixed the fucking banister?
Yeah.
Like,
Honey,
what do you?
Post. Like,
Yeah,
I picked up on that one too. Like,
right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fuck off, Norm Abrams.
But he's kind of losing his shit. Everything's falling apart, and he's really starting to lose it. And what does he do? He goes after the newel post with the chainsaw. All right. I guess I appreciate the randomness of that.
Absolutely.
That was up there with the randomness of food additives.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to say, look, this man followed kids around and he picked up trash after them. So I got to say, if Noodles says this film is garbage, I can't. That's an expert opinion right there. So I'll be on the same page. You definitely made me look at this in a new way, and it's taken it down a peg or two for me as well.
Well, I'm glad I could be of service. Thank you.
Now I don't have shit to watch this Christmas.
Now, speaking of John Hughes films, I used to know Carl the Custodian's monologue.
Caddyshack. So do we.
What do you think?
No. From Breakfast Club.
From Breakfast Club.
Oh.
Yeah, Carl the Custodian. And
I
some worthless serf, some peasant, some peon, let me tell you, I listen to your conversations. I go through your lockers. I read your notes. I'm screwing it up. I am the eyes and ears of this institution. It was a great monologue.
I hate that film, and we did that on this very podcast as well. Breakfast Club. That was a bunch of that. I love how the kids decide to smoke weed, and they're acting like they're all in PCP in detention. That doesn't happen. Emilio Estevez is jump kicking door windows out and shit. No, that's not how weed works, guys. Terry, any other notes, or that's it?
I guess that's it. Yeah. Okay. I just the couple things I dropped there. The pedophile vibe really creeped me out with old Art there, but yeah, it definitely came down a peg or two for me.
Give me a number 1 to 10.
I'll go 6.
Ooh, right on top of me. So 6.5, 6.
That's where I like to be.
Yeah, buddy. Big spoon, little spoon. 6.5, 6, and a 2.5. Let's now listen to those critics who think that Wes Anderson makes good films. He doesn't. Critics 5-star reviews. Sure, it's crude, episodic, and half the jokes don't work, but Christmas Vacation may be the only modern Christmas comedy which really stands up to repeat viewings.
Nope.
All right.
So these were reviews that were written at the time, right? They're not.
No. They are recent ones. These are the top of the Rotten Tomatoes.
No, yeah. Those are on like microfiche or something. You got to go to the library and look at those reviews.
Yeah.
I will laugh out loud every time I watch this. My favorite from the Vacation franchise.
Look at it.
In National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Chevy Chase's family Christmas tree is a little full with a lot of sap. Waka, waka, waka. Much like this movie, but it's a big-hearted fullness, and it's a smoothly stirred sap. That's the newest, hottest punk band from SoCal, I've heard. That one whiffed. This film by John Hughes marks the third in the National Lampoon Vacation in Hell series, and it's just about as inane as expected. Happily, this film is a lot funnier than expected, too. You know, it makes me think of something. Don't you think Beverly D'Angelo gets sick of these strips and go, you know what? I think we're done. I think we're going to get a divorce. Like, this is nothing. You're not worth sticking around a while for these misadventures this many times.
Stockholm Syndrome, right?
Yeah, I guess. I guess he's slinging a 12-inch hog, or that food additive job pays a shitload salary. I don't know.
Yeah.
Critics 1-star reviews. It's silly in the extreme, and the only relief comes from Randy Quaid's performance as an obnoxious relative. That's fair. A roller coaster ride of hilarity, poignancy, vulgarity, and just plain dumbness. Most of these episodic moments, particularly in the film's first half, are hilarious, but as the picture goes along, there are far too many dry spells. That's what I said. There never, ever should have been more than one of these movies.
Yes.
I bet he said that after he reviewed European Vacation, this one, and Vegas Vacation. One of the great unanswered questions in Hollywood is how Chevy Chase still gets work. Well, to be fair, he did come out with Memoirs of an Invisible Man after this, and yikes.
You know what? I liked him in Community, but he kind of played himself, I think, in it. But Community was that TV show that I don't know if you're familiar with.
I never saw it. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was quirky and odd. Yeah, I liked it.
Amazon 5-star reviews. The scene with the squirrel was just hilarious. I almost peed my pants from laughing so hard. Could have done without some of the language. That makes it a bit less family friendly. Still the funniest movie I've ever seen. I mean, what's their second funniest? Big Top Pee-wee? What's that?
Pee-wee Herman, man. Leave Pee-wee alone.
No, the first Pee-wee is a masterpiece. The second one is a blue whale abortion. Pretty much. In fact, Terry and I had tickets to go see the 35th anniversary of Big Top Pee-wee at the Beacon Theater, and then COVID hit. Fuckery.
Yeah.
The live Q&A with Paul Rubens afterwards.
Yeah.
Big Top Pee-wee I watched with my kids. it wasn't as good as Big Adventure, of course.
Right.
With E.G. Daly in it too, right? She was great in that. Anyways, yeah. But if you have to watch something with your kids, at least it's Pee Wee Herman. I find him funny.
And I'll tell you what, if you can dig it up, his Broadway play that was on, it aired on HBO. His Broadway run was hilarious. It was Pee Wee's Playhouse, but on Broadway. I wish I saw it live, but if you can catch on HBO, it's great.
Okay, from back in the day though, old.
No, it aired about 10 years ago on HBO.
All right.
I mean, and it's interactive. That he goes, and today's secret word is, and all the audience yells, ah, shit like that. I would have been in heaven.
Lawrence Fishburne make it out for that one.
Yeah, Cowboy Curtis.
I had the box set of his TV show, his kids TV show. I had the box set of that.
I love that every morning on Channel 2. It was great. My wife loves this movie and insists upon us watching as a family a few times during the Christmas season. When we discovered that we did not have a copy of it at home, I was momentarily thrilled by the prospect of not having to endure another screening of this. Thankfully, Amazon offers a purchase and immediately viewing digital copies because, as every married man knows, happy wife, happy life. Signed, Cuckolded Husband 69 on Pornhub. We bought this movie solely, SOULY. See, Amazon people don't even have a GED. For the tutorial on how to hang Christmas lights on the house. We were not disappointed as every house went dark on our block once our husband hit the switch for hours. We are currently collecting cans to pay for our $2,000 electric bill, but know in the long run, it will be worth it. This movie contains several useful tutorials and will never go out of style. That's a funny little tongue-in-cheek meta approach. An Amazon 5-star review. Amazon 1-star reviews. Frankly, it's embarrassing to watch. It's full of not too subtle innuendos, lewd remarks, profanity, and the part that was really unacceptable was having the little kids using vulgar language. None of the characters were any sort of role model for anyone. As religious carols were played in the background, I felt disgust that this was being used as support for the characters and the story that came up as mockery. The movies being made in that time period, in my opinion, yeah, we know it's your opinion, asshole. You're writing the fucking review. Were when the news entertainment industry began to go down the flusher. Signed, Kurt Loder, MTV News.
Well, that's like the third one to mention the vulgarity of this movie. Like, if they feel like this is a vulgar movie, like
children cursing is fucking funny. Okay,
right. It's the funniest thing.
That review. Also, Christmas carols. While vulgarity is happening, so what, man? Haven't you ever been with your family around Christmas? I mean, there's always the drunk uncle or aunt. In my case, screaming vulgarities and just saying the most inappropriate things. Half in the wind. So
Noodles, don't you understand? These Bible Belt people don't like movies unless Kirk Cameron directs them.
Okay, yeah, that's what I got, that Kirk Cameron vibe from that review for sure.
Next one. I admit I did laugh out loud a few times. All told, I probably spent nearly a full minute in laughter, primarily at Chase's antics on the roof in the first part of the movie. Unfortunately, this flick is 90 minutes long, and I spent the other 89 minutes wondering when it was going to get better and marveling over the fact that this turkey is to be considered a classic in the eyes of so many people. This is in the running for the worst movie not named Magnolia that I've ever seen. Guys, there are much worse films than Magnolia, and according to this guy's wife, it's probably their wedding video. Ha!
No. Speaking of turkey, the turkey that they cut into and it just kind of
explodes. Right.
They still eat it. No one's going to eat that turkey. It was disgusting looking. Right. It did not look like it looked like a rotted out carcass. It did not. No one's going to eat that.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Noodles was like, back in '88 when we first were starting out, I had sex with a groupie who looked like that turkey.
Sure. On a good night.
After about 18 Meisterbrows.
Yeah.
An absolute perfect example of everything I despise about the comedy style of Chevy phony baloney Chase. Utterly annoying and unfunny in every single solitary scene. My wife insisted we watch it because it's a holiday classic. I love my wife. I hate Chevy Chase. Signed, Bill. Signed, Bill Murray.
Yeah, right.
I can't stand Chevy Chase, and my girlfriend made me watch this movie. It has its moments, but be aware, Chevy Chase lives through the end. Signed, the guy who greenlit Chevy Chase's talk show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Terry Loda, did Noodles from The Offspring gut the sacred cow?
I feel like he did. I mean, I've never torn apart this movie so bad, and I've always just casually quoted it right along Christmas time. You just go about it, but I mean, part of it is the fact that at some point along the line, we all realized that Chevy Chase is just an absolute prick in real life. So when you go back and rewatch his films, you start to feel like, yeah, there's you think about what a dick he was behind the scenes, right? Like yelling at everybody. It's probably why the other kids didn't return, right? Because every
one of them, that's right, they're in a new batch.
Off, let's get new ones.
Yeah, that's kind of I think he's supposed to be a lovable schlub who just keeps putting himself in these ridiculous, harmful situations, but really he's not lovable. He's a dick who speeds up and slows down in front of people. He brings his boss a Christmas gift, but at the same time, when people are walking by and he's saying Merry Christmas, then kiss my ass, kiss his ass, Happy Hanukkah, he's kind of being he's a dick. He's not likable. He's an arrogant prick.
That's all true.
Anti-Semite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's all true. But I still love Caddyshack, and I'll never fucking quit Caddyshack. I'm sorry.
That's it, man.
I love Caddyshack. There are things he's done well, and then there's things where he's not so much acting. He's letting himself slip into the character when he should have focused on what the character should be like. You never want to make a film where the main character is just dislikable, unless we're completely unlikable, unless that is the whole thing. If you're going to make it a dark comedy about a prick. But I don't
kind of like what you were saying before the podcast about Tom Hanks in Philadelphia, right? No.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He didn't say that, folks. I'm throwing in there.
that.
Noodles didn't say that. I'm making a joke. Don't.
I can't imagine you guys doing a takedown of Philadelphia and all the pitfalls that lie in trying to gut that sacred cow. For sure.
Dave Landau does a masterful job, sir, and I implore you to listen because he's fucking hilarious. I'll sell you on that. Noodles, it's been a joy, a treat. Tell everyone what you're up to. What do you want to promote? Where can we find you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, we're still out doing shows right now. We've got weekends, no full length tour until the end of the year. We're going to Australia. I think it was Sum 41.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure for us in Australia. That'll be fun. Those guys are great, and we do the two bands. We just different enough to have plenty going on, and they're friends of ours. We love those guys, so it's going to be a fun tour for sure. This weekend I'm playing in a couple of festivals outside of Montreal and outside of Quebec City. Then we go to Japan, and yeah, we're keeping at it all year long.
Don't bring any weed, otherwise you'll end up like Brittany Griner.
Yeah. Well,
it's hash oil, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney, I should say too. That'd be more apropos.
Yeah, honestly, Japan is one of the few places where weed isn't just automatically being pumped into my face. I have a little fan to kind of cool me off, and it just sucks up the weed smell and blows it in my face. So I'm getting a little crossfaded during the set.
Cool. And go see The Offspring. I've seen them I don't know how many times, and Noodles is so cool. We get to hang out and chat after the show. The Offspring, they kick ass, man. I've been a fan since 93, 94, and they still bring it, man. Go check them out. They're still fucking banging. So give them the world. Terry Loda, what do you want to promote?
I can hear my son screaming upstairs. So why don't we keep this going for a little bit longer? I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to that life upstairs.
I like the Descendants T-shirt. It's the same T-shirt that the Oath Keeper guy was wearing in the January 6 hearings.
You mean not the Viking helmet guy?
Not the Viking helmet guy, was the Oath Keeper guy. He was the guy who did all their social media. He was like their all their media. He was like the I don't know, the spokesperson for them, for the Oath Keeper.
Did he come out and go, "Do you know what I think about you"?
Yeah, the Descendants immediately tweeted, we disavow all connection to the hate groups. We don't want to have anything to do with them.
That's crazy.
I did happen to I stumbled upon a video of Jello Biafra singing Police Truck with them just recently. So that was
with the
really nice find. Yeah. And it was very recent because he was, had the gut going and the gray hair. So I had to be from just a few years ago.
That sound good?
That was amazing. I mean, I love Jello, and the Descendants are one of my favorite bands. They're so cool. We did a cruise with them. I was filling in for Greg Hetson's out doing Circle Jerks. Mm-hmm. So I was doing punk rock karaoke, and I just did the Flogging Molly cruise with punk rock karaoke, filling in for Hetson, and the Descendants were on it. Three of the guys came up and did songs with us. Carl, Milo, and Stefan came up and sang with us. It was great.
You're so complimentary of all of their bands. Which bands can't you fucking stand and will never tour with?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to do any shows with Kid Rock. Not a big fan of Kid Rock.
Fair. He's a huge fan, by the way. He's gonna come up next and do Spies Like Us. No, I'm just kidding.
Is he?
No. That film fucking stinks. I rewatched that like a few weeks ago. It's terrible. It's bad.
Younger, but I bet it didn't hold up.
I didn't never liked it from Jump, and boy, was I right. You can check out kevingootee.com for upcoming dates and shenanigans. Check out Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber for NFL's picks, where my daughter eats dessert, a cookie or brownie, and I give my NFL bets for the week. That's on Instagram as well. Gutting the Sacred Cow, of course. Make sure you write that 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review. Guttingthesacredcow@gmail.com. Guys, Noodles, thanks a ton again, man. Always a pleasure hanging out with you and talking to you. Thank you. Terry, thanks for jumping in the co-host chair.
Hey. Anytime. This was a blast, guys.
Awesome. All right, everyone.
Can't wait for the East Coast tour.
Take care, everyone. See you later.